Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Before we continue, thank you so much for all the support. I really appreciate it. We're up to like 1,100 subscribers, which is pretty cool. If you're enjoying the videos, please don't forget to subscribe. It makes me feel like an actual YouTuber. I really appreciate all of you guys for the support in the channel. So anyway, we've got a bit of a throwback match for you today with Leandro Lowe versus Lucas Lepre, or Lepre, as the pronunciation is, I believe. Both of these guys are some of my all-time favorites, and it's a throwback match that I found on flowgrappling.com. So if you'd like to, just go ahead and enjoy that full match before you watch this video. I thought I'd do this video though because I'm a bit short on time. It's a bit of a shorter match, and also, as I said, these guys are some of my personal favorites of all time. Beautiful jiu-jitsu, and I'm kind of excited to see sort of how the meta has evolved and their ideas and decision making back then versus now. Leandro Lowe here influences a lot of my own jiu-jitsu with like a lot of the grips he takes in X-Guard and things. And he was, in my mind, and I actually believe the general consensus is he was considered pound for pound the greatest on the planet when he was active, and it's very sad that we lost him, unfortunately. So anyway, we're into the match. I don't actually know what this is. So Copa Podio LWGP. If anyone knows what that is, could you please let me know? A couple of the comments before said I don't do homework, and you're not wrong. I don't, because I just want to watch good jiu-jitsu. I don't really care where the matches take place. And so, like the grip fighting is really quite nice already, and you can see how Lepre is got a really nice posture. He's doing very well for himself with this posture here. He's not really bent back, and he's a little bit shorter than Lowe is, and so it's a little bit easier to get underneath. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a guard pull straight away. So I really like what I saw there. You could see him like crouch a little bit, so he gets the grip straight away. And you see how he crouches. And what this allows for is it allows for Leandro to go lower and opens up the space on the hips, so that now when Lucas sits in, he can go straight on the hips right away. Now from this position, we're into like a really deep Della Riva. So Leandro's posture is all shot to hell, and the collar is really strong, pulling in. The leg wrap is very deep, and the grip on the ankle is very strong. So this is actually not a good position for Leandro to be playing at all, and he's going to have a lot of work to come back into the fight. And so straight away, I'm just going to watch this for 10 seconds or so, and then I'll try and point out what I'm thinking. What I really enjoy is straight away Lepre is taking action. So one of the things that I try and teach my students all the time is that when you're in your position, like your position, when you know it's a good position, don't sit there and fuck around and wait. Like, actually act on what you want to do. So this is such a beautiful guard position now for Lepre. And he can pull in and up and over the top. He can start to off balance. But if he makes a decision now to let go of the hand or let go of the collar, he'll lose the posture control, and then the position becomes way harder. So he makes the decision to push out with the leg and sit up, trying to reach the hand in underneath the leg for the lapel. And it's like a really nice lapel wrap, like wrestle up position. And he straight away, you can see how he was already sitting up into it. So he's got Low on the back foot, and he uses the right leg to push, which is what allows for the sit-up. And so now I really like this. You notice how he didn't let go of the leg until his own was securing the hook in. Low, for his part, is pushing the leg down and trying to like strip the grip, but because Lepre has the collar, he's going to start passing it into the other hand. And so I really enjoy what Lepre was doing, is that he's not allowing Lowe to come back into the fight with his own momentum. He's forcing Lowe to react to what he's doing, which means that he's technically winning, right now. And so you could see that a second ago, that the Lepre has the collar, and he's starting to hunt for the other sleeve grip. And so this is a very difficult position now for Low to play, because if he allows this hand to be pulled down, he's going to get swept to the floor, basically. And so he's trying to be heavy. Lepre like off balances him to the outside, but Low's got such good balance he switches the hips back in, and then all of a sudden we're into like a more neutral position. So it looks like Lepre has the grip still, and he's starting to secure the grip, and now it's all slowed down. You can see on Low's face he's like taking his time to figure out the position. And so they pause everything, drag it all back into the center, and then off they go. So now it's like a proper puzzle for Low to figure out. You can see he's like looking side to side. What the fuck do I do here? Because the problem is he can't move, because as soon as he starts to move, he's going to get off balanced and lifted the way he's moving. And because this hand has still got a grip in, if he gets lifted to the inside, the hand's going to be pulled. And so he's going to go in opposite directions, and the shoulder's going to go towards the floor. And it's going to be a very bad position for him to play from there, and he'll end up losing the match. And so he's breathing heavy already. He's trying to figure out what to do, and he tried to do like a back step off the top. And it's honestly a very difficult position to play because of that grip. In my mind, he should be like not really making big movements with the legs, but rather with that grip, he should just be circling it like a corkscrew, trying to free the grip before he ever starts to try and move. Because if he manages to free the grip and gets his own grip on that right hand sleeve, this other hand will be able to come in for like shoulder control or underhook, and then the head will be able to go to the floor. But that wasn't really the done thing back in the day. And so like the idea of being elevated was much more scary back then. Whereas nowadays we kind of see Joseph Shen just fucking committing straight forwards, and he doesn't give a fuck. You know? And so you see Leandro's like trying to lengthen out and make it really heavy so that he can't get lifted, especially because of that grip. And so you can see the control that Lepre has managed to get for himself, and exactly right. So he abandons the grip because Leandro starts to break it. And now this posture and all the rest of it, because Lepre still has the collar and the grip, Low has to be super careful not to be pushed off center. So you can see how his hand is acting like an outrigger so it can go to the floor, but it's also acting like a wing to give him base and balance. Now he's going for the top collar to pull himself in to try and like crush everything. Because once again, back in the day, the idea used to be if I can like jam your knees into your chest, you want to be able to push out. And so it's interesting to me to see the change in meta versus what was and versus what is now. Like if this was Merengali on top, he would be like head low, bum tall, probably. Either that or he would be doing everything in his power to posture up. But he definitely wouldn't be grabbing onto that far side corner. He would be setting up like an underhook on the far side, trying to smash this way. And so it's very interesting to see the decision making and how it's changed, and I quite like it, to be honest with you. You see how Lepre is trying to lift Leandro forwards up the body the whole time, and Leandro doesn't like it. So we get into this wrestle up position. Once again, maybe this is why it's a good idea that he didn't come forwards too early. It's because he gets wrestled up on. But you can see as well that he's not committing his head down. He's not committing his weight off to the side because he can't at the moment because he's getting so powerfully lifted. But for example, if this hand was set up as an underhook, he would have shut this entire wrestle up down. But he manages to step out of the guard very beautifully. And so it's a really, really nice sequence. And this is exactly what Lepre was going for originally with the grip, passing it into the other side leg. Now, if he manages to pass the sleeve into the opposite hand, this hand will be able to reposition onto the collar, and then he'll have a very powerful pinwheel up and over the top, which will wrench the shoulder down and to the floor. And so Lowe's trying to back up, and then like Lepri's running the feet, and you can see how already it's like exactly right. He just forgoes getting the hand in between, just wrenches down, and then Leandro is getting swept straight away. And that's a beautiful sweep, especially because of the size differential. It's like a beautiful sweep, and I'm such a fan of Lucas Lepri. I'm such a fan of his passing. If you go back and do like the highlight videos of his passing, he like instant transmissions through the fucking guard, somehow, some way, and he's smaller than Leandro, who was going toe to toe with fucking Marcus Almeida, Bushesha, and he just swept him, in a beautifully executed timing, and a beautifully executed like decision making, because he didn't panic, and then he wrestled up, and then as Leandro was trying to back away, he just hunted him the fuck down. So really beautiful decision making coming out of Lucas Lepri here, to get up on top, and then Leandro's done a really good job with the follow up of the guard. So you can see how like straight away he's got the knee shield down on the cross, and he's pulling Lucas in, so it makes it very difficult to play. But again, it's very interesting to me that the favor back then was the knee rather than the butterfly hook. So we even see with like Adam Wodzinski, Adam would be removing the knee to the outside to spin like up and over the top and then down and through to put the butterfly hook in, because he would much prefer to be central, like square on, and then using a butterfly hook to elevate. And you can see how like Leandro tried to pull Lucas in and then lift with the knee on a flare, which is not as muscularly efficient. And so he's like trying to heave up and over the top. Lucas steps forwards with the foot and like goes hips in, head tall up the back, and then he's trying to posture quite tall. And so now he manages to stabilize. And you can see this beautiful Leandro low wrap. Sorry guys, I'm getting super excited with this, because this is what I do now when I'm in like an X guard, specifically because of Leandro Low. This, like, other people have done it, but Leandro Low in my mind is the best at it. And so I really like what I'm seeing with the counter sweep, and like how much control he has over Lucas here. And so like Leandro's shooting his hips up, controlling the outside leg, and then he's trying to like spin to the outside. Then all of a sudden, there's a counter sweep straight back, and then we're into not a very good guard position for Lucas Lepri here. Because the reason being is that Leandro is so heavy over the top, but he's so low, and so now he can start working on clearing the legs, and then like this knee in a second can flare to the outside knee can come in, his head can go to the chest, he can start smashing sideways onto the hips. At least that's what we would see in modern jiu-jitsu, I believe. Instead, though, interestingly, we see him try to back away from the guard. You can see how he's trying to go away from the guard rather than into the guard, and he's trying to like go around the outside. So I quite enjoy the fact that we can see like the differences in methodology, because like he was so close to the chest. If this was modern jiu-jitsu, you would see Marangali just smack. Well, we wouldn't see Marangali do fucking anything because he's got a broken shoulder. But we would see modern athletes smash into the chest and get cross-face underhook, and then go about the battle that way. But now all of a sudden, Leandro's back into the guard position rather than into the passing position. So the guard position starts at base of the butt. Passing position starts at like top of the hips. So beautiful control over the inside leg, and you can see how he's now got the underhook and he's trying to smash through. Lepri has the pant grip, so it's very, very difficult to start smashing through. Again, I would love to see not so much controlling the shoulders, but controlling the hips and like pulling the hips off the floor to encourage the knees to the outside. And then there'd be an easier time just collapsing straight down into the chest. And so like these guys, as they are now, would like, I believe that Lepri would lose to someone like Tynan, potentially. I mean, that might be a bit of a controversial take, but this Lepre would be hard pressed to win as dominantly as he did nowadays. And this low would be the same, very hard pressed to win against someone like Meregali nowadays. But it's a very impressive jiu-jitsu nonetheless. And so I enjoy what we're seeing here as well. This collar is simultaneously like a puller as well as a pusher. And Leandro is allowing his posture to be broken in favor of getting straight legs, so it makes the wrap of the feet behind the knees difficult, and is in favor of controlling the ankles. And so now you can see how Leandro is trying to go for pressure, but again, because that posture is allowed to be broken and he's not encroaching on the inside space with his legs back and his chest lower, Lucas once again gets this wrestle up position that we saw at the beginning. And then we don't want to get into this wrestle up position, so Leandro is forced to go forwards, but this is a little bit awkward now because the hand's underneath the leg, encouraging him sideways. And so what's the play here? Well, the play should be heavy pressure opposite direction, and underhook, really. Head on the outside, the other side, underhook on the inside. Reverse that, sorry. Underhook on the outside, head on the inside, and then knee comes down to hip. Should be the play. As best as you're able to. But it's a little bit of a puzzle to figure out, and it's difficult because the leg's stuck out, stopping the advance forwards. Now we're seeing some heavy pressure coming in. So Leandro's over the top jamming Lepre's face in. He's got hold of the hips now, and now this is a very difficult position. As long as he doesn't allow this knee in, he should be sweet to try and jam through the middle. But again, Lepre's doing such a good job of pushing him away and using his feet to could keep that distance. And I think that this is a change in thinking. The biggest change in thinking since this match has been, don't focus on the hips, focus on pinning the shoulders and getting the person flat. So you can see how Lepre's shoulders are off the floor and his hips are off the floor, and he's not flat. If he was flat, he would be losing. And so Leandro's trying too hard to deal with the legs, whereas the modern thinking... Well, sorry, he's not trying too hard to deal with the legs. The modern thinking is now get onto the hips so that you can advance to the shoulders, because the hands can reinforce the legs. The legs cannot reinforce the hands. And so if you deal with the hands by pinning the shoulders to the floor, the legs are going to have a really tough time stopping you from advancing past the guard. And then all of the modern athletes nowadays are physically moving through space forwards up through the guard, because the terminology to pass the guard means literally move through the legs, and staying in the legs until you playing in the legs, trying to deal with this coming off here, dealing with this coming off here, this one going through, and all the rest of it. Is a difficult ask. And so what we see modern players doing now is not stopping here, but stopping here to play guard. And that's what allows them the closure of distance to get onto the chest. And then, as I noted before, Leandro didn't put his head down when he could have. You see what I mean? And so it's a very difficult position to play, especially when the lapel wraps come in. So now we see some inversions, and inversions when the person's sitting in your guard versus in a passing position are so good. They're very, very good, and they're very hard to deal with. And so you can see even Leandro's trying to figure out the puzzle. He's trying to push the leg down, but that's completely redundant. And so what should you do here? It's very difficult, but in reality, because you're already past the knee, and this knee, your right leg is through the guard, you should just be going chest to chest and getting underhooks, and then head to the far side, and then a crossface in. and then just trying to pull this leg through the middle into a half guard so that your left leg here is half guarded, and then you'll be able to advance the position. But again, very difficult when you're getting off balance by someone as tensilely strong as and good at jiu-jitsu as, you know, Lucas Lepri. And you can see how Leandro had the right idea. He's trying to kill the wrap, but all of a sudden he gets off balance. Now he has to commit the hand to the floor. And again, this hand here is misplaced, I believe, nowadays. Like, you don't want to pull the person off the floor anymore. It's irrelevant. So you should get your posture taller and start dealing with the feet so you can advance up through the guard. And beautiful inversions. A little bit fucking hard to tell what's going on when they do stylistic drone shots like this, though. The inversions really work, and that's probably actually why, thinking about it, he had the grip in the collar, because it acts like a crossface stopping the head coming in. To beat inversions, you just need control of the head to bring it out, so it can't come in, you know. And so, like, trying to stop the leg on the outside, like what happened, is no good. But holding onto the leg so you can't get knee barred is a very good idea. So Leandro does a back step. He's still in danger of getting a knee bar here. Lepri straight away tries to posture up, but this is what allows the room needed for Leandro to sprawl out. And so he manages to mat return Lepri here. Now, I'm sorry, guys, I'm really struggling with the LLLL names, you know, LLLL. And so it's a little bit of a challenge. But now we get into this half guard position, and this is a prime opportunity to get crossface underhook, head to floor. So we'll see what happens. Crossface, good. And we lose it. Interesting. Let's watch that again. Crossface. So you can see Lepri's pushing the leg down is very, very good, and then he's trying to get on his side to face Leandro, because the same ideas apply of, like, you don't want to be on your side. But like, this crossface is not that good. The reason being is that Leandro's body positioning is much more perpendicular. You know, so his body positioning is through versus Lepri's. It's much more perpendicular, whereas you see nowadays people are gunning for much more parallel play, because if your head can pinch the chin and you can tilt the chin up, all of the rest of it dies. And so, like, cross-facing across the body is effective, but it's not as effective as what the current thinking is, which is what allowed this little shimmy shake to work. And so you can see how Lowe was burning some juice, pushing the shoulder off so he could get the elbow back in, the knee back in, and now the guard comes back into play. Because if you commit forwards, you're exposing arm crushes if you're low in this position. And so, yeah, interesting to see as well that Lowe is going back onto the hips rather than trying to advance through into the shoulder control. And I'm quite enjoying seeing the differences actually in methodology. And so the idea there was Leandro wanted to pin the hip so he could do like a big back step with his left leg, but he didn't quite manage to get out of it, and then instead he pulls Lepri into an inversion. And so now Lepri's onto the legs, and this was back in the day when leg entanglements and things were not really known, and I believe reaps were still like unless you got a knee bar, you can't even reap, that sort of thing. And so now we're into like a single leg X type position, and this is difficult now for Lowe to play because of the elbow on the ankle and the collar. And so this is an X guard type position where if Lowe's not careful and he lets go of this, the hand will come underneath the shin, the elbow will come underneath the shin in front of the ankle, and then he'll get swept really, really quickly. And so, yeah, really, really pleasant to watch that. What have I done? There we go. Sorry. Really, really pleasant to watch what happened there the feet. So like this placement right up the middle is really, really good placement with feet, because you push directly on the hard point of the body rather than the knee getting flexed upwards. And so Lowe's defending this beautifully by kicking the leg out. And if he didn't kick this leg out, the tipping of his balance would go over the top and he'd get like forward rolled, basically. And he manages to put the other hand on the floor and maintain the balance. Very difficult. And so we're here into this like this wrestle up position, and I reckon if Lepre manages to get the collar and kick Leandro out and sit up, he will get the sweep. Leandro's balance is just something else, though. It's absolutely something else. And so you can see, actually, just as an interesting side note, Lepre's got the pant leg. Low always goes tall elbow and grabs on front of the shin. And that was the biggest difference that I really enjoy. So it affords much more control. So we see Lepre trying his best to wrestle up, and he manages to do it, but at the sake of at the cost of losing that leg. And so what might have been a better idea is to secure the X guard in favor of letting go of the collar for now, so we can secure the grip on the sleeve a bit better, and like get a pocket grip, and then hunt again for the collar. The idea being is that you can use both hands to start breaking the grip off. If it travels over and under the leg, with the elbow coming through as well, and your whole body shuffling this way, the elbow travels underneath and then onto the shin. The hand gets traveled underneath the leg. You end up with this arm wrapped quite tidily, and then all of the posture and balance is brought forward, so that when you re-grab, you can take them wherever you want. You know. And so that might have been a bit of a better decision making, instead of just like muscling up in a crunch through fucking 90 kilos worth of good balance and good jiu-jitsu. And you see how Leandro is like not allowing himself to be flipped. He's pulling like the Rotolos, where he's like always trying to land on his feet the whole time. And so they call the break because obviously we don't want to go through the barriers, and then they start on their feet again because no one got anything. And so straight away you can see how Leandro is respecting the fact of the grip, and he manages to stop, but Lepre just wants the guard pull, so he just pulls the guard straight away. And then it's a good thing that Leandro managed to slow that down, because if you hop too tall, you will get swept straight away. Once again, wrestle up position. I would fucking hate to be playing against Lepre in this position, because look at how good he is at just coming up and forwards. He's folded himself in half with nothing but core strength, and look at where his foot is. This is a very difficult spot to be playing if you're Leandro, because you have to be aware of where this hand is, where the collar is, where this hand is, where the foot is, where your balance is going forwards, and where your collars are. And if you're not careful, he's just Lepre's just going to retreat into a really strong off-balancing Della Riva. And this, I've been in this type of position many times, and Sebastião Bruno, the number one ranked black belt in Australia that I keep losing to in competition this year, does this type of guard really fucking well, and it's so off-balancing. And so once again into the wrestle-ups, Leandro's doing a really good job of like jamming the weight into the top shoulder here, and like kicking backwards into the hips to make it very, very heavy. But he's risking exposure of the back in order to defend the sweep. But he's got 8 seconds left, and he can scramble all he wants. And then, very, very close to getting a guard pass. But like, he needs to be blitzing in and just commit further through. You see how he does like a bit of a spaz jump? It's very hard to blitz through when the arm is in the way. And so the timer goes off. The score is 2-2 with an advantage. I don't remember where the advantage was given, possibly because of like half a sweep. And so it was a very, very close match. It's really exciting to me to see because it's like when you watch cartoons of Dragon Ball Z or whatever, it reminds you of your childhood. It's very nostalgic seeing these two athletes again. And so very well done to the late, great Leandro Lowe. It was very sad when he passed away, unfortunately. But that's okay. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the match. Thank you so much for all your support. If you enjoy the channel, please let me know what you like, what you didn't like. Please leave suggestions for matches. I really appreciate all of your support, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.